Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Do we have a closed session report?
Nothing to report out, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Joe, would you like to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Great.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Here.
Councilmember Litzter,
Here.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Judge,
Here.
Mayor Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, I move that all.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Are there any items for agenda review? I'm sorry. No? Okay.
Nothing.
Go ahead.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
If any member of the city council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why, that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda. He or she should declare so at this time. And seeing none.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of certificates of appreciation to outgoing Neighborhood Council Executive Board members, and Senior Management Analyst Julia Ramirez is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, we are recognizing 9 outgoing members of the Neighborhood Council Executive Board. Executive Board members act as a conduit between residents and city government on matters that affect the community. During their tenure, these individuals diligently reviewed, evaluated, and made recommendations to the Planning Commission and the City Council on development and city-initiated projects. Several of the outgoing Neighborhood Council Executive Board members are present tonight. As I read your names, I ask that you please come forward to receive a well-deserved certificate of appreciation for your contribution of time and leadership to the community. Your commitment and dedication is admired. From Neighborhood Council 1, Jill Abela. From Neighborhood Council 2, Susan Aguilar. Carl Birch. And Dimitri Ehrman. From Neighborhood Council 3, Julie Bershin. Evelyn Gatewood. From Neighborhood Council 4, Bobby Calderon. Brian Kane. And Mike Murphy. Please join me in congratulating these outgoing Neighborhood Council Executive Board members on a job well done.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D2, presentation of a proclamation declaring the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Assistant City Manager Samantha Argabright is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and City Council members. This evening, the City Council is proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and members of Seroptimus International of Simi Valley are present this evening to accept the proclamation. I would like to invite the following Seroptimists to come forward. Brooke Grayson, President-elect; Naslin Kanji, Little Black Dress and Live Your Dream Award Chair; Susan Blumert, Director of Membership; Becky McGuigan, Judy Siddell Award Chair; Terry Stasic, Director of Women's Outreach; Gina Quarantello, Director of Programs; and Amy Corneau, Director of Public Awareness. If there are other members present, which it certainly looks like there are, please feel free to join the group as I read the proclamation. Whereas 1 in every 3 women, I'll wait. Whereas 1 in every 3 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime, and whereas intimate partner violence.
Okay, Mayor, we're trying to hear the proclamation.
Okay. Whereas intimate partner violence accounts for 15% of all violent crimes annually in the United States, and whereas on average 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner, and whereas women who are victims of intimate partner violence are most likely to be between the ages of 18 and 24 years old, and whereas in 19% of domestic violence incidents a weapon is used against the victim, and whereas domestic violence is not confined to any group or groups of people but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, and whereas domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity, and whereas Seroptimus International of Simi Valley provides support to women experiencing crisis and those pursuing a better life for her and her children through the Live Your Dream Award, the Debbie Thomas Founders Award, and other programs made possible through events such as Little Black Dress, Quartermania, and more. Now, therefore, the month of October 2023 is hereby proclaimed Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city of Simi Valley, to increase awareness of intimate partner violence and to encourage victims to seek assistance and support. Presented this 23rd day of October.
Okay, well, I got to tell you, this is a group that's close to my heart. My late wife was the founder of this organization, and you guys do so many things. This is just one of many things you guys do, but I'm going to give you a chance to talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, on behalf of Seroptimus Simi Valley, we are very proud to be able to represent women and girls in the community. We are very thankful that this month can be proclaimed Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so thank you for that. And we have 2 signature dream programs that we raise funds for. The Live Your Dream Award, where we give cash grants to women who are the primary household earners and going to college or vocational school. And also Dream It, Be It, which is for our teen girls, and we do a conference and some talks with them to help them have the resources they need to have career guidance and also to deal with the stresses that our girls are dealing with every day. And we do have an event coming up right around the corner, Saturday, November 4th. If you know of any teen girls who might be able to attend this, it's at no cost to them. You can go to our website, seroptimistsv.org, and you learn all about it there. So thank you.
And thank you for all that you guys, thank you for all that you guys do for the women and the girls of this community.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 1D3, presentation of a proclamation declaring the week of October 21 through 28, 2023 as California Flood Preparedness Week. And Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. I didn't realize Flood Preparedness Week was such a popular item for everybody to come out tonight. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the city of Simi Valley recognizes the significant public safety threat that flooding poses to the population, assets, and economy of our city, and whereas as a result, portions of the city of Simi Valley are at risk of flooding and are exposed to over $1 billion in potential damage to buildings, infrastructure, and loss of productivity, and whereas the city of Simi Valley participates in the National Flood Insurance Program administered by the Federal Emergency Management Agency to provide flood insurance for property owners and residents of the city, and whereas the city of Simi Valley also participates in the community rating system, documenting the city's floodplain management activities exceed minimum FEMA standards, reducing flood insurance premiums by 25%, whereas California Flood Preparedness Week is being held statewide during the week of October 21 through 28, 2023, and whereas during the California Flood Preparedness Week, local, state, and federal agencies across the state work together to inform the public about the damages of flooding, how to prepare their homes and families for a flood, and how to plan for a recovery. Now, therefore, the week of October 21 through 28, 2023, is hereby proclaimed California Flood Preparedness Week in the city of Simi Valley to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for a flood emergency. Presented this 23rd day of October, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D4, presentation of certificates of completion to the Fall CERT graduating class, and Emergency Services Coordinator Rachel Myers is here to present this item.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. Tonight we are recognizing the 27 Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT, training graduates from the Fall 2023 training class. Each year, the city offers basic CERT training to the community. This year marks the 29th year of this very successful program, which is offered to Simi Valley residents at no charge through a partnership with the Ventura County Fire Department. With the addition of these graduates, over 1,600 Simi Valley residents and workers have completed 8 chapters of online training, 18 hours of hands-on disaster response training classes, and an in-person final simulating responding to a disaster. A special thank you to Ventura County Fire Department Captain Robert Miner, who conducted the weekly training for the city, and CERT Program Director Steve Lazenby, who organized the final drill, simulating responding to a major earthquake. We thank VCFD for their partnership. The city's volunteer disaster service workers support the CERT trainings. The volunteers with us tonight are Robert Moss, Phil Ingram, Daryl Clark, Jorge Curiel, and Rob Maurer. We thank them for their service. The graduates received 6 weeks of training on a variety of topics, including disaster preparedness, disaster medical operations, search and rescue, fire suppression, team management, small group leadership, terrorism awareness, and disaster psychology. The CERT program plays an important role in preparing residents for disaster response and potential evacuations. For example, in 2019, the Easy Fire erupted during the fall CERT training, and the students were called into action to help the community with their newly acquired skills. We thank these graduates for their dedication to the program and congratulate them on their graduation. We ask them to become champions for CERT and encourage their neighbors to take CERT training so they will have help when a disaster strikes. The next CERT class will be offered in spring 2024. Citizens can take the 8-chapter online training now. Visit the emergency services page on the city's website for more information. At this time, graduates, please come forward as your name is called to receive your certificate. Cassandra Ayala. Rose Ayala. Samantha Ayala. John Zach, John De Amico, Frank De La Torre, Andrea De Luna, Bradley Fitch, Sean Ford, Daniel Gale Lamb, Catherine Giuffre, Gary Griggs, Matthew Griggs, Thomas Harmon, Matthew Kaufman, Kevin Lackey, Sarah Lazarde, Justin Moisen, Stephanie Morales, Brandon Pelayo, and Burton Weinstein. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being a part of the program. I know very well what it's like. I was a member of class number 2. And I highly recommend it. Matter of fact, I was curious. How many people in the audience have gone through CERT? Raise your hands. Oh, all right, good. So please go out and let others know about your experience. It was interesting. Fun. I thought it was fun. Learned a lot, not only for what you can do for the city, but just making you more self-confident about, dealing with a situation like that in the future. So it's a really, really great program. Highly recommend it. Thank you all.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D5, presentation of Employee of the Month for July, August, September, and October 2023. And City Manager Gabler is here to present this item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. It's our pleasure to introduce to you the employees of the quarter for 3 months during the year 2023. The employees of the quarter, employees of the month. These employees are selected by their peers and are recognized as employees who have demonstrated their willingness to go above and beyond their regular job duties to display the city's mission in one of the following ways. One is sound physical management. The other, providing a safe and healthy living environment and responsive customer service. Or 3, community involvement and volunteerism. So it's a pleasure to present the Employees of the Month for the months of July, August, September, and October. They will be presented by their supervisor department heads, and Carolyn Johnson will be the first. She has 3 in her department, and Linda Swan will present the one for the City Employee of the Month for October. So Carolyn, take it away.
Okay. For July 2023, we have Brian Egan, Accounting Technician 2 in Administrative Services Department. Brian, if you'd like to come forward. So Brian is a valued member of the Administrative Services Fiscal Division. He was always going above and beyond his scope of his job duties to help the department and the city. Brian volunteered his assistance to research the new accounting reporting standards from GASB 87, which is regarding leases. He worked with department contacts to obtain the necessary information and then compiled all the data necessary. While actively involved during the audit process, his work led to the city's successful and timely implementation of GASB 87. For August of 2023, we have Pamela Messier, also Accounting Technician 2 in Administrative Services. Unfortunately, Pamela could not be here this evening, but I will tell you why she was nominated and awarded. She is also an invaluable member of the Administrative Services Fiscal Division, and her knowledge of the trust funds is outstanding. During the implementation of the Munis financial software, trust funds were placed lower on the prioritization list so that the division could focus on more pressing matters. Once everything stabilized, management communicated the need to update and get trust funds back on track. Pamela volunteered to lead the project. She worked on catching up the backlog information and defining the process that would be used going forward. The reconciliation is now up to date, and there is an updated reoccurring procedure in place. Pamela's great work on this project has become the foundation for the trust fund reconciliation process. For September 2023, we have Eric Mencia, Digital and Print Media Coordinator, also in the Administrative Services Department. Eric, would you like to come forward? So Eric is an amazing resource as the city's Digital and Print Media Coordinator. His creativity and willingness to assist staff with ideas in creating a better product exceed all expectations. An example of Eric's helpfulness was when he was asked for his advice on creating a bilingual emergency preparedness mailer. Eric suggested creating a flip book with English pages that flip over to the Spanish pages. He further assisted by creating a mock-up mailer so that the staff was able to obtain an accurate mailing cost, which was helpful when designing the mailer. Eric's expertise, enthusiasm, and design skills are much appreciated by all staff.
Mayor and City Council, I'd like to invite down Heidi DiNardo, Management Analyst of the City Manager's Office. So this evening, we would like to recognize an invaluable asset, not only to the city manager's office, but to the city as a whole, and her name is Heidi DiNardo. Heidi goes above and beyond every day of the week by providing assistance to residents with her kind and patient nature, handling applications for special events and filming projects, processing uploads and postings to the city's website to help keep our residents informed, ensuring all of our vendors and expenses get paid through our Munis ERP system, and assisting staff in other departments wherever needed. An example of Heidi's excellent work and diligence was recently when the city clerk's office was receiving multiple invoices from the Ventura County Star. The invoices had 2 different account numbers, and the clerk's office was being charged twice on both invoices for some of the publications. Heidi was able to connect with the VC Star rep who was able to get the billing squared away and on one account number. This is just one of many examples that makes Heidi such a value-added employee. Please join us in congratulating Heidi DiNardo as Employee of the Month for October.
So I just have one quick comment. You know, since becoming mayor and seeing the inner workings of the city, I can tell you this is just an example of what rock stars our city staff does. They really are amazing.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. Mr. Mayor, we have no speakers for this item this evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment of Neighborhood Council Executive Board members to the 4 neighborhood councils, and Senior Management Analyst Julio Ramirez will present this item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. The neighborhood councils serve as an important component in the city government structure. They promote citizen awareness and participation in local government. They advise the City Council and the Planning Commission on development projects and citizen concerns. To fill vacancies on 4 executive boards of the neighborhood councils, 18 candidates are recommended for term appointment, inclusive of 2 partial appointments. As I read your names, please come forward. For Neighborhood Council 1, Susan Thaut, Dwight Thompson, Frank Perota, Will Marmolejo. For Neighborhood Council 2, Brian Nines, Teresa Ramirez, Douglas Robertson, Michael Turpak. For Neighborhood Council 3, Peter Karubi, Kevin Marshall, Rivati Pudhoda, Tony Huddocks, Stephen Baker, John Gatewood. For Neighborhood Council 4, Stephen Cope, David Hetcher, Dale Cutler, Susan Dirksen.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept and appoint the,
Actually, don't miss Susan. Turn around, Mayor.
good.
You got one more.
I make a motion to appoint all these outstanding people to our neighborhood councils.
And I'll-
Second.
Seconded by Dee Dee.
Vote yes, Mr. Mayor? Get that on the record.
The motion passes unanimously.
So while people are sitting, I just want to say thank you, and I'm delighted that District 3, our Neighborhood Council 3, is finally getting to be fully staffed. Woohoo! So.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A2, appointment of Youth Employment Service Advisory Board members, and Community Services Coordinator Kristen Tignack is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. Since 1982, the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board has advised the City Council on matters related to youth employment. The board is comprised of 15 regular and up to 3 alternate member positions. A total of 3 vacancies currently exist: 1 youth representative, 1 youth council representative, and 1 alternate member position. On September 27th, the YES Advisory Board Interview Subcommittee interviewed the eligible applicants and nominated 2 for appointment. Additionally, the Youth Council nominated a representative for its designated position on the board. If appointed, the applicants will serve terms commencing October 23rd through today and concluding on June 30th, 2025, except the Youth Council representative, with a term concluding on June 30th, 2024, in accordance with the Youth Council 1-year terms of office. The following individuals are being nominated, and I'd like to invite them to please come forward as I say your name. Youth Representative Amay Gupta. Youth Council Representative Annika Nadanuri. And alternate member Rithmika Naveen. And then the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board and Youth Council recommend that the City Council approve and the mayor appoint applicants nominated to the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board. This concludes staff's report, and I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve and for the mayor to appoint the applicants nominated to the Youth Employment Service Advisory Board.
Second.
And they will all be outstanding.
Councilmember Litster?
Didn't lock her vote, sorry.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3C1, informational presentation by Youth Council member Adi Nair.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for inviting me to speak this evening, as well as for your continued support of all the work we do as part of the Youth Council. My name is Advaith Adi Nair, and I'm currently a junior at Santa Susana High School. This is my 2nd year on the Youth Council, and I am so excited to be working once again with such an intelligent and hardworking group of young leaders to make the community a better place for our youth. After our very successful Rock Painting Night and Yogurtland fundraiser on September 22nd, 2023, we reviewed what went well and what we can improve on in order to ensure better event outcomes in the future. We found that although our participation and promotion set a record high of 300 attendees who participated in the event, we discussed the need for more organized role assignments for our over 70 eager volunteers that wanted to help, as well as some recommended changes with event logistics. The members of the Youth Council then moved on to the most important aspect of the current term, which was the discussion of the content and execution of our 2023-2024 work plan, which is everything we want to accomplish throughout the course of the year. Members of the Youth Council surveyed students from their schools, either by asking them in person or having them fill out an online Google form regarding the main issues that they felt were affecting them and their community. The main issues that we gathered were race-based discrimination and bullying, mental health and stress resulting from academic and social pressures from school, bullying and cyberbullying, as well as student-teacher tensions. We assembled into groups to narrow down all the responses and ultimately created 3 viable committees: the Multicultural Fair and Awareness Committee, the Teen Wellness Committee, and the Youth Summit Committee. These newly formed committees have met throughout the course of the past 2 weeks to elect their chair and vice chair, as well as to discuss preliminary ideas and future plans. For each of the committees, the chair and vice chair are as follows. For Multicultural Fair and Awareness Committee, Abhishek or Abhi Humbe and Anika Nedanuri. For Teen Wellness Committee, Jasleen Kangura and Tanvi Iju. And for Youth Summit Committee, myself and Kalissa Rowe. Youth Council members also determined the discussion topic of this year's Youth Town Hall and how to organize the different aspects of the event in collaboration with the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute. As mentioned, one of the main problems that we identified was academic and social pressures from school, so we decided to make that our main topic for this year's Town Hall. Please mark your calendars to attend the event on Thursday, January 18th, 2024. We also voted to participate in the city's 6th annual volunteer fair, scheduled from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 8th at the Boys and Girls Club of Moore Park and Simi Valley. Currently, there are more than 25 nonprofits signed up to attend this special event, designed to showcase amazing organizations that make a difference in our community. If you're looking for ways to give back, don't miss this event in order to find out what volunteer opportunities are available. Students may also earn up to 2 hours of community service that night, as many of the nonprofits will be running service projects on site. Before I close, I would like to invite all members of the City Council, as well as all members of the public, to stop by the Youth Council's booth at the City Expo and Street Fair on Saturday, October 28th, to sign our Stop Bullying pledge banner as part of our October Stop Bullying campaign. Again, that's the City Expo and Street Fair at the Town Center on October 28th. In addition, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Simi Valley Youth Council. Again, I would like to thank Mayor Thomas and the City Council for allowing me to speak tonight. There are no words to express the gratitude that we have for all of you. At this time, I'll ask if there are any questions or comments for which I'd be happy to respond to. All right. Thank you all again, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I got to tell you, having attended a youth council meeting, it is one impressive group of individuals. If that's any sign of what to expect of future generations, I think it's a good sign.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5 this evening, agenda items 4 and 6 are combined, and the City Council will hear all public statements under agenda item 4. Agenda items 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which the card was submitted to speak for this public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mr. Mayor, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements.
Please proceed.
Lyle Hibbs.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Before I decide to tell you what I'm thinking, I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here and for this country to let me speak the way I want. I've been here before. My subject tonight is and I know you can't do anything about it, it's already been done. You were forced by the state to accept the monstrosity down in Tapo and Alamo. You tried to do what we wanted, but your hands were tied. I realize that. And I'll give you a little background. I have lived in Simi Valley for 59 and a half years, probably before any of you were here. And I love Simi Valley. I know there's change. When I moved in here, there were 38,000 people here. And change is good. New people in the city are good, but things like I saw down there. And the reason why I'm here, when this thing first started, they asked for 5 stories at that building, or if you want to call it a building, I call it a monstrosity. They asked for 5 stories. You folks, and through whatever, got them to go for 4 stories. Now that is, the outside of it's been constructed, if you look at it, it's not 4 stories. It's 5.5, because I think it's the elevator shafts or stairwells or something like that, and then the facade on top makes those buildings higher than even 5 stories. That structure was approved for 4. I never got to see any plans for the building, but when you folks review and when the Planning Commission reviews plans, I think you ought to take into consideration what's going to happen with the height. I see other developments in Simei that are 3 stories. That one I thought was going to be 4 stories. I wanted 2 stories or 3 stories. But I'm requesting that you take a good look at the plans to see what the height's going to be when the finished building is there. These shafts, the elevator structures, that type of thing, and the facade to cover up the air conditioning, I think that's what it's for. I haven't seen any plans. But all I'm asking is that you do a careful review and not make residents in that area go through what we tried to stop from happening. Like I say, I see no problem if it was a 2 or 3 story like the other things I see being built here. But I just want you to take a close look before you approve the plans, in spite of the state pushing you for it. I've been in defense of you folks. Many people said, City Council has allowed this. I'm saying, no, you didn't allow it. You were forced into it. You were going to lose your zoning approval, and that's not right. So as a member of this community, I know I don't have too much longer to live here. I'm going to be buried here. But I love Simi Valley, and I respect if you can do something to take care of this problem that I see. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that was the only speaker this evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lyle, and I'm sorry I didn't get your last name, but Lyle, thank you for the recognition that our hands were tied. And I appreciate you pointing it out and saying that. That being said, we can't address all of the things directly from the dais, but I will tell you that I would certainly like to see careful scrutiny of that project all the way along, since it was forced upon us. I think that at least we should do our due diligence to make sure it sticks to within the parameters that were agreed to. So thank you for coming out and speaking tonight.
Councilmember Litster.
I will just concur and echo, Mr. Hips, what Councilmember Rhodes just stated. This is a beautiful community that we live in, and living here 59 years, you have seen some beautiful, wonderful things. It's a beautiful community, but we owe, as a council, we understand our responsibility to keep it a very special community. And so thank you for your comments tonight. I understand the concern about height. I recall having that fight and discussion too as we're looking at our housing element, because it truly does change the appearance of our community. And so, but I concur that we need to very closely examine everything from traffic flows, et cetera, as it is developed, because it is a concern. But thank you for being here tonight.
And I just want to agree with that. I mean, how it was approved deserves nothing less than overseeing every detail of that project. Make sure it's done the way it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there are no resolutions for your consideration this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to just have a quick, I'm happy to motion the approval of the consent calendar, but I have a quick question on the very first item, which is the approval of the minutes from the last two meetings, or from, not the last two, but from two meetings.
Is it a quick question that we can move on to?
It is a quick, well, it is a quick question. It's one that I wanted to really ask of
Okay.
the dais.
Go ahead.
Basically, if you look at the very last page, which page 9, where it talks about what we discussed at our retreat. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for making that happen. Item 3E, discussion of performance measurables and metrics in addressing city work orders. I recall, Mr. Mayor, you had it was very important. The minutes state the City Council requested an annual update on work order performance metrics. I didn't recall that was the decision, that we were going to have an annual update. Was that the decision they made? I knew that there would be updates, regular. I just don't remember it being a yearly. I thought it would be more frequent, to be honest. I thought it was
Absolutely more frequently than annually, yes.
Well, that was my understanding. So I was surprised that the minutes say annual.
Probably the better term is regular, so.
Okay, then I would move that we change that to say regular update, then, if that's all right. I just was hoping a little more frequent, that was why. So if that's the case, then I would move that we approve all consent items with that
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
Call for a vote?
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the next item on the agenda is item 8A, second reading of ordinance number 1352 to establish objective design standards for developing two-unit residential developments and to establish regulations for subdividing single-family residential properties in response to State Senate Bill 9, SB 9, and a determination that the amendments are exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. The reading of the ordinance is as follows. Ordinance number 1352, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley for city-initiated municipal code amendment Z-S-2023-0004 to amend portions of Title IX of the Simi Valley Municipal Code to establish objective design standards for developing two-unit residential developments and to establish regulations for subdividing single-family residential properties in response to State Senate Bill 9, SB 9, and a determination that the amendments are exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
I move to adopt ordinance number 1352.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just before we adopt this, and I am appreciative of staff's work, we did make one basically word change in Part 1, Section H. I want to thank you for that, specifying that there will need to be an annual affidavit, something submitted every single year, that there would be owner occupancy in these units. And it's the intention of this ordinance that the be owner-occupied splitting, and we will expect that affidavit every year. We will be looking for it. We'll be monitoring for it. And a straightforward comment to anyone that might be listening to this somewhere in the future, if you're a developer and you do not plan on being an owner-occupied split, you're just looking to take advantage of building in our city, you will be filing an affidavit every year, and that's not your intent. Choose another city.
And I might just add too, I realize we have a lot of attendees this evening. We're not discussing this because it's a second reading, and we had lots of questions and lots of discussions last 2 weeks ago when we met. And so I just want to be very clear that this is of concern to us. This basically, what we're passing this evening, it supports, it puts objective standards. Basically, it's our way to restrict and make as best as we can the regulations that came through SB 9 handed down by the state. And so that's what we're passing. But I just want everyone to understand there was much discussion 2 weeks ago about all the details and hammering it out so that we were comfortable with how it read.
With that, I'm going to call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A, receive and file the Samaritan Center's COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant Annual Performance Report, and consider request to reallocate unspent Year 1 grant funds to various categories for Year 2 funding. And Assistant City Manager Linda Swan is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and City Council. In September of 2022, the City Council awarded the Samaritan Center with a 3-year COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant in the amount of $475,000. The Samaritan Center, in accordance with their grant agreement, has submitted their annual performance report. Staff has provided an accounting of Year 1 expenditures in the staff report before you. Due to challenges with staffing issues such as hiring of the third caseworker and gaining a better understanding of services that provide the most benefit to the community, the Samaritan Center was delayed in spending the first year's allocation of $212,000, and there is a balance of $68,008. During the first year of grant funding, there were several accomplishments. To highlight a few, the Samaritan Center provided emergency housing to 20 people in need, provided 5 households with rental assistance for homeless prevention, 4 clients with car repairs who used their vehicle for shelter. They sent 2 people back home to reunite with their family, provided gasoline assistance, bus passes, Uber assistance, and hotel vouchers. Additionally, the center purchased a new vehicle for food rescue and distribution, made improvements to their shelter, installed a bottled filtered water fountain, purchased a new refrigerator and dryer, and stocked their pantry with supplies. The Samaritan Center is requesting that the council allow for a reallocation of unspent Year 1 funds of $68,000 to support 2 caseworkers, housing utility assistance, office improvements, kitchen and pantry maintenance, along with other miscellaneous categories to Year 2. As the Samaritan Center's request to fund additional personnel and other categories deviates from the original scope of work submitted to council, staff is requesting that the council approve their request to reallocate unspent funds. Staff does recommend approval of the reallocation to Year 2, but recommends that the center should transition away from city grant funds for staffing and facility improvements in Year 3 and direct funding to assist the city's unhoused population. This evening, we ask that City Council receive and file this report and reallocate the unspent funds to various categories in Year 2. This concludes staff's report, and I, along with Annika and Doug from the Samaritan Center, are available for questions.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have a question. Thank you for the report. It was detailed. It was exactly what we needed to see on how the money's being spent. If we're reallocating, this is a technical question for the city, do any of the reallocation requests that are being made in this violate any use of fund agreements that we had or stipulations in which we received the money in the first place?
Well, I don't believe so, because it's lost revenue that went into a COVID community grant system process. So it's all part of benefits to the community.
And we moved that into the general fund anyway that we could then allocate from, so there was no violations. Okay,
Exactly.
Just making sure of that. I had to reread this, and I think I've got it, but I'm going to ask for clarification. There had been one case manager that was being funded by this, and now it says it's being asked to help fund 2. Am I reading there's now a 4th, or am I reading that we're funding one of the other 2?
We are now going to, what their request is that they would like us to fund 2 case managers. The goal was that they would staff 3. They were delayed in hiring the case manager. So moving forward, they would like us to reallocate that money and use that for 2 caseworkers. So we will pay for 2 caseworkers.
Okay, so, I guess this is more of a philosophical question for the future as opposed to the reallocation of the money now, but what happens to these caseworkers when this money runs out? Are we hiring someone to then just be let go?
That'd be a question for the Samaritan Center.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Thomas, council members. So Over a year ago, we had 2 part-time caseworkers. We then were allocated an ESG street outreach grant, which helped us to get from 2 part-time caseworkers to 2 full-time caseworkers. That grant was always only meant to be for 1 year. It was just a 1-year grant. So that grant just stopped in August, so we do not have that money available anymore. Hence, us not spending the money in the first year because we had some challenges hiring the right position. We would like to use that underspend to continue to keep 3 caseworkers.
So it's not a fourth, it's
No, it's
continuing
not a
to pay for
fourth.
3. Okay, that's what I thought that I had read in there, but.
I wish we could, but no.
And then what happens in subsequent years?
Well, it is a worry, I'm not going to lie. What this grant offered us from the city, it's making so much difference to our community. 3 caseworkers, our caseworkers can focus much more detailed on every individual person. It's, just to give an example, in the last 3 months, we have housed 7 people. In the year before, we have housed a total of 11 people. So it is making a difference to getting people employed, getting people housed, because the caseworker can work much more detailed with a person. But yes, it is offering, this grant is offering additional services. It's services we couldn't do before. So worst comes to worst, we'll have to go back to 2 caseworkers, which I really don't want to do. But we are looking into alternatives. We are applying for other grants. We're reaching out to foundations. So rest assured that we are looking for alternatives. But yes, it is a worry of ours too.
Well, worrying about 3 as opposed to worrying about 4, to me, is a much better problem. So thank you for that clarification on that.
Any other questions?
Councilmember Litster?
Yes, and maybe this is just an extension of what Councilmember Rhodes was asking you. Do you have a designated grant writer, someone on your foundation?
He's standing right here.
Okay. And so, and I know, because I can see that being a full-time plus job. I know that there's money out there, but someone's got to be constantly looking for it.
And we are, and we're reaching out, and we keep up to date with which grants are out there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we want to keep 3 caseworkers. It's making a difference. And this grant that the city provided, it's so many things we couldn't do a year ago. We didn't have money for emergency housing. We just started a rental assistance program. It's something we kept, since we've started that, which started later, we already kept 5 families in their house or managed to get people housed that were homeless before. We can offer gas cards for our clients to get to appointments, to get to job interviews. We help with car repairs, which keeps clients in their car because that's their place of living. These are all things we could not do before this grant allocation from the city. So we are thankful for it, and our clients are too. It is making a massive difference.
And I guess, and I do have another question, maybe this, it's beyond the purview of a little bit, but I know you recently had a big fundraiser gala, and I'm sorry I was out of town, but was that successful? And how are those funds, have they been earmarked for something? I'm hoping.
For a first time, yes, it absolutely was. And the one part we're always struggling with is operational funds, paying our rent, paying our bills, just keeping the doors open, paying for staff that aren't caseworkers. And that's what grants hardly ever pay. And about 60% of our budget comes from individual donation, different churches, foundations. And with everyone struggling more, donations are going down. So keeping our doors open is what we need and what these fundraisers are for, to keep us going and keep our operation going.
And that was a really good 30-year anniversary. And like Annie said, we raised some money, but honestly, it's already spent.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping there's another 30 years of goodness in the community that you're.
We can't celebrate 30 years every year, but
oh, but you can celebrate 31 and then 32.
We are looking for other events coming, so there will be more to come, that's for sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
May I make a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we receive and file the Samaritan Center's COVID-19 Community Recovery Grant Annual Report and approve the reallocation of unspent funds to various categories in year 2.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council Member Reports.
Councilmember Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since our last city council meeting on Tuesday, October 10th, Councilwoman Litster, City Manager Gabler, and I met on an amphitheater discussion and moving that project along. On Wednesday, I left to visit my daughter in South Carolina, so had a few meetings until Tuesday, October 17th. I was extremely happy to attend the ribbon cutting and the official reopening of the Junkyard Cafe. And I also went from a private board meeting to Neighborhood Council number 4 and was able to attend the balance of their meeting, not the entire meeting, but enough. Let's see, on Thursday, October 19th, with many of us, I was able to attend the Simi Valley Emerging Leaders as they did the rededication of the Veterans Wall at our local cemetery, which was an absolutely beautiful, heartfelt event. And we even got a slow flyover by, was that Huey? CH-47, that went over during the event. Friday, October 20, I had a interesting personal experience representing City Council in Simi High School for 5 consecutive one-hour history classes where all the students got to pepper me with whatever questions they want. They were absolutely fascinating questions, and I must tell you, the faculty member, the teacher, Mr. Gorey, said there can be no inappropriate questions or you'll get points off. Even so, the kids couldn't help themselves. and I was asked, how did you get that scar on your face? And he did not give the demerits. So if it shows up on your report card, he told me he wasn't going to do it. I attended a Rotary event in Bakersfield over the weekend, and today sat for just about 5 hours of housing authority, area housing authority interviews for the one open seat. And that is the end of my report.
Councilmember Litster.
Thank you, Mayor. Lots of things happening in Simi Valley these last 2 weeks. I'll try to be a little brief. I, too, would like to start with our October 10th amphitheater discussion meeting with City Manager Brian Gabler. I wanted to thank him for the work he did and compiling a good RFP and putting, I think, trying to really ask the questions or putting them points that will help us really evaluate if it can be economically viable and what it means for the community. And so we'll look forward to that being published soon, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Also on October 10th, I had the privilege of attending the grand opening ribbon cutting of Adams Forge. And those of you who are not familiar with this place, let me tell you what Simi Valley has that you have no idea. If you are into artwork or shoeing horses or anything with an anvil and with heat and pounding, this is the place for you. The history, as I understand it, is that that Adam willed his anvil, or his wife passed it on to an organization back in 2001, and they've been operating in LA County for many, many years. And anyway, recently moved here to Simi Valley, and they have lined up 10, 15 anvils. They teach classes. They welcome artists. They have room for other artists if they want to deal with glass art, etc. Anyway, just an exciting place over on Easy Street. Do check them out. It's called Adams Forge. So anyway, I was just very impressed. I had no idea what a little jewel we have recently in Simi Valley. Wednesday, October the 11th, I was able to represent our city at the ribbon cuttings that the school district held. On that day, I went to Sycamore Elementary School and also Garden Grove Elementary, where they had ribbon cuttings on their brand new inclusive playgrounds. And I have to tell you, these playgrounds are wonderful. Particularly, in fact, if you saw that photo on the front page of the Acorn this last weekend, you will know what a delight some of this, and that was captured at that ribbon cutting. But they have what they call a coaster, which is this huge ship that children can wheel onto with their wheelchairs, and then other children climb on the ends, and they're rocking back and forth, and it's just a wonderful interactive playground for children of all physical abilities. And so I commend the school district for their vision in making that happen. On Thursday, October 12th, I also attended, also the school district, with Mayor Pro Tem Mike Judge, the ribbon cutting for the beautiful quad area at Simi High School, and that I'm sure will be beloved by students for many, many years to come. Also on that day, I attended the Oktoberfest that was held at our senior center, and I want to commend our senior center staff for putting together such a wonderful event for those who participate. Even though the band didn't show up or canceled that morning, it didn't matter. They had great music. It was lots of fun. In fact, I'm not going to mention the two people who snuck in that were supposed to be on bed rest, but it was really a wonderful event. And I am going to share, I sat across from a dear friend, but there was a sweet woman who was taking people's desserts and putting it in her own doggy bag to take home. And I thought it was just delightful. And it's a wonderful gathering place for our senior community. And so thank you for that fun event. On Friday, October 13th, I attended the ribbon cutting of Code Ninjas, which is in Simi Valley, which is a wonderful place where they teach programming games for youth. And so and I know they've been working hard to get opened, and just a fun, great learning environment for our youth. And so if you have any children interested in computers and coding, that's the place to be. On Saturday, October 14th, the Simi Valley Ed Foundation had their big fundraiser, their barn crawl, held at Strathern. And that was a great experience to be part of that and to help with that. I should mention, I know that they raised funds. You can always raise more funds. Annika, I want you to know I can relate to your plight. You're always looking for more, aren't you? They raised funds, but I understand that they have also received over 90 requests for grant funding in the Simi Valley Ed Foundation grant program. So anyway, anyone who has a heart and wants to give funds to that worthy organization, it will be immediately distributed to classrooms and teachers. On Sunday, October the 14th, this was not in the capacity of cityhood, but I did play the harp with the Westlake Symphony. I only mentioned that because we have the Sum of All Music in Simi Valley Orchestra, and they rehearse every Friday evening, and it's delightful that we have our own orchestra budding in Simi Valley, and so I'm very proud of that and appreciate Mr. Metcalf and his efforts there. Monday, October 16th, nothing that I'm going to report. Tuesday, October 17th, again, the Junkyard Cafe was fabulous. I will tell you that all this week it's been parent-teacher conferences at the schools. Thank you to the teachers who've gone above and beyond to get to know each of their charges and to connect with the parents. Wednesday, October the 18th, I attended the 22nd Annual Ventura County Housing Conference. I understand that Mayor Pro Tem Judge was there, and others, Linda and others from our city. A couple things that I took away from that was very interesting. Basically, there was a couple of projects that they highlighted, one of which is the Mesa project that is in Camarillo, which is basically tiny homes being built for youth ages 18 to 24 who are either homeless or at risk of being homeless, particularly through the foster system. And they're very close to opening, and so it's an interesting new program. Hopefully they're successful. They also talked about And I may have gotten the wrong place where that was. Did I say Camarillo? It wasn't Camarillo. I'm sorry, I'll come up with that. But they also talked about the greens at Camarillo Springs. And I thought about, here's what I wanted to report to the council. Basically, that project, they're taking an 18-hole golf course and narrowing it down to 12 holes, and then taking away those holes and putting houses on those other holes. And I had an in-depth conversation with one of the people involved with the development, and he explained that this particular golf course was in a bit of disrepair, and this allows the rest of the golf course to be invigorated, housing, et cetera. And he tells me that that's the wave of the future, that there are golf courses that are becoming 12-hole golf courses, that's more and more prevalent. And I wasn't aware of that, but I thought that was an interesting project. But what was interesting, too, is that he was worried, because I gather in Camarillo, their city council is allowed, if a development after 3 years, they have to come back and present to the council again. And at that time, they can do an up or down vote on the project, and it could be, which he said, to his knowledge, it's the only city in the county. Brian, you're looking at me like, is that true? He was telling me that was the case. So he was very nervous. That was why they were presenting there. So I'm not saying that we need that authority, but I thought I could see where that was just an interesting authority that Camarillo City Council has. Anyway, that was very instructive for me. I also attended that day on the Chamber Economic Committee, where they had a presenter about the Little House on the Prairie, and he spoke at length about this big gathering that's coming in the spring. And if all comes to fruition, it's going to be huge. So look forward. Amy knows all about that, right? It should be amazing if that all comes about. Thursday, October 19th, a couple different meetings with VCOG, Ventura County Association of Government, to plan their big dinner, by the way. Look forward to seeing all of you this Thursday night at our own Cultural Arts Center, where we welcome the rest of the county to come celebrate with us. But we also had our admin committee planning meeting. I also appreciate attending the Emerging Leaders Dedication to the Veterans Wall, a wonderful memorial in our community. And thank you, Mr. Gabler, for your time to meet with me, as we do with regularity. And I appreciate his willingness to cover all sorts of topics. So thank you very much. Friday, October 20th, attended the grand opening of 85 Degrees Bakery Cafe. I cannot believe how many people stood in line from beginning at 5:45 in the morning to attend that ribbon cutting. And also attended the ribbon cutting of Sweat Haven. That too, if you're not familiar with what's going on in our community, on Tapple Street, it's a way to a sauna to receive health properties, and hopefully Councilmember Judge can talk even more about that. Saturday, October 21st. Sorry. This is it, I promise. Saturday, October 21st, attend the ribbon cutting of the Majestic Residential Care. Lovely new facility in our community with Councilmember Kavanaugh. And I attended the Senior Craft Fair. We have some amazing artists in our senior community. I couldn't believe what was housed in the senior center. And I have to tell you, as I was walking through, I was eavesdropping in on someone else who was shopping, said, "What? There's more? Another room? It's going on?" It went on, and just some great artists in our community. And so with that, my hat's off to everyone, all that you are doing, and I end my report. She's with the Chamber of Commerce, and a lot of those ribbon cuttings are done by the Chamber of Commerce. So in full disclosure.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Thursday, October 12th, I had the honor of attending the VC CDC dinner, where Bruce Stensley, who's the CEO of our EDC, Economic Development Collaborative, was recognized as a Visionary Leader of the Year. Bruce has done a fantastic job. As I've mentioned before, I'm the chair of the EDC this year, and they are making me look so good. So I'm really appreciating all that. But we really do have great staff at the EDC. And again, for all you small businesses, we have loans, we have free professional services. Anything you could ask for, we've got somebody that can help you. So please feel free to use that. On Thursday, October 19th, we had our EDC board meeting, which we have down in Camarillo. It's really nice. It's a big board. We have it's a combination of public and private. So each of the cities and the county has a representative on the board, as well as private industry. And we get a lot of things accomplished, and we get a lot of influence and a lot of information from each other to really help the EDC, help our community. I want them to come up here and do a presentation, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. City Manager. Okay, I'll make sure we get that, because the things that the EDC offers, we in East County, Bob Engler from TO and I talk about it all the time, we aren't utilizing it as best as we should. And we now have our own loan fund for Simi Valley businesses there. So it's really a great opportunity. That same night, I got to attend the Citizens Academy. I was representing the Police Foundation, but the canines were running late because they were out on duty, so I also opened it up for any city questions. That was a good one. So it was fun. But Mr. Mayor was there, so I'm sure he'll be reporting on that, giving away the certificates. Janet Segi does a great job on the Citizens Academy every year. I also attended on Friday morning the bakery cafe grand opening. I took my box of breads and savory and sweet stuff to work, and one of my coworkers goes, "You're going to do this every Friday morning, right?" I said, "No, I don't think so." He goes, I said, "They don't open till 9." And he goes, "I don't care, just come in late." I'm like, "Sure, Steve, whatever." But it was the people were completely around the building. As I was leaving on Cochrane, they were wrapped around to the sidewalk on Cochrane. So it was great. I had never been at that facility or that bakery before, but I had talked about it to people, and they said, "Oh, you're going to love it." It was fantastic. So it was really, really good. Hopefully McDonald's didn't get upset that we took over all their parking for a couple hours. So I think Lisa's pretty good, I think. So we're good. On Saturday, October 21st, I also attended the ribbon cutting from our 5-star chamber at Majestic Residential Care, Inc. A young lady by the name of Cammie has opened that business. It's a beautiful facility. I couldn't get over how beautiful it really was. They completely gutted that house and have made it into a very, very operationally sound area. And then it's beautiful on top of it. She has very beautiful taste in her decorating. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Amy, for making me go. She goes, "Well, if you're not busy tomorrow." I said, "Okay." But it was really good. I'm glad I went. So thank you very much. And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report's not going to be that extensive. Tuesday, October 10th, I woke up and was excited. But to get along, Wednesday, October 11th, I attended the Police Foundation meeting where I was honored to see the Elks Lodge here in Simi Valley present the Police Foundation with a check for $2,500, which is outstanding. Our Elks Lodge does a lot of good work in this city, and so does our Police Foundation. It's always good to see nonprofits work with each other. On Thursday, October 12th, I too, as Councilmember Lister mentioned, attended the quad opening for the Simi Valley High School. So all my pioneers out there, if you haven't had a chance, get over there and check it out. It's very nice. It's very pretty. It makes the school look very modern. I liked it. On Friday, October 13th, I attended the 5-Star Chamber Breakfast over at the Posada Royale. Got a good presentation on the Little House on the Prairie event coming up next spring. I'm looking forward to that. I hope it goes great. I too attended the grand opening of Code Ninjas over there. That looked very interesting. I was really, really excited to see this. Well, it was a stupid thing to be excited about, but it was a machine that was doing a Rubik's Cube by itself. I thought that was amazing because I could never do one. On October 14th, Saturday, myself and the mayor attended the Walk for Life over at the Simi Valley Town Center. We were able to release the doves, and that's always a great thing to be involved with, and hopefully someday we'll have a cure. My heart goes out to all the people there and all the people that were supporting people who've had cancer or people that have beaten cancer. So like I said, it's always a great event. On that same day, October 14th, the Elks Lodge, again, through their house committee, donated $9,000, $500 for every elementary school in Simi Valley to help teachers offset costs for in-class purchases. They're going to be making a presentation to the school board for that in a couple of, whenever we get it lined up. On October 17th, I too was honored and excited to attend the re-grand opening, or the second grand opening of the Junkyard Cafe. I'm so glad they got through their problems with their little fire and fixed it all up. Now they're back in business and hopefully going to do much better for a lot longer time. Wednesday, October 18th, I attended the Ventura County Housing Conference. Enough said. Thursday, October 19th, I attended the Emerging Leaders rededication of the Veterans Wall at our Pioneer Cemetery. That wall looks great. I mean, I don't tell people to go to a cemetery to sightsee, but if you want to go over there and check out that wall, it's a very nice wall. It's dedicated to all 5 services now, or, yes, 5, right? 6. 6 services now. So like I said, it's a great looking wall, and it was very much needed. And I'll tell you, the board that's running that cemetery right now has done a great job because it looks great. The cemetery looks clean. It looks well kept. The on-site manager is doing an outstanding job over there. So to anybody watching from the cemetery board, I'm thankful, and I was very impressed. On Friday, October 20th, I too attended the grand opening of 85C Bakery Cafe opening, and if you haven't gone there, check it out. I mean, it opens at 9. They've got a ton of stuff in there. There's not just, they have coffees, they have different kind of coffee drinks, they've got pastries, savory and sweet, so it's something there for everybody. I also attended the grand opening of Sweat Haven, which is a new infrared sauna place that Councilmember Lister talked about. On Sunday, October 22nd, I attended Gigi's Playhouse Gala at the Reagan Library. They raised over $100,000 in donations. Good for them. They're hoping to open up their playhouse this year, hopefully, by January, I believe, or just after January. So good luck to them, and I hope they can get it done. It's going to be a great addition to our city. It is a special facility to help families with children with Down syndrome, and also the children with Down syndrome integrate into society and, you know, make sure that everybody knows that they're not alone. Today, I too helped with the assistance over helping Councilmember Rhodes pick a new candidate for our area housing authority. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I'm going to start with Monday, the 9th, was the day that I actually went to the location of my new business, or my new location of my business, to receive the keys and start the process of prepping it for our move later this year. So Chamber can get ready for that red carpet, red ribbon cutting. Saturday, October 14th, I attended and was asked to speak at the Cancer Society's Relay for Life. It turned out to be kind of an emotional thing. In checking in, they discovered that I was not only that I was a survivor, and so, you know, but for me, it was having just lost my wife 3 years ago. It was a reliving that whole process, and I was glad that this event had a lot of people there that had been through it and wanted to share their experience, and people that were going through it now and were you know, getting good information and peace from being there and having people to talk to. So it was a good event. Thursday, October 19th, attended the Paratransit Advisory Committee and at the Transit Maintenance Facility, and I have nothing to report. And then that evening, I spoke at the Simi Valley Police Department Citizens Academy graduation. It's I always like having a conversation with them about what they learned, and they realized that the officers in our department do a lot more than give tickets and make arrests. There's so many ways that they contribute to this community. On Friday the 20th, I attended the Ventura County Sheriff's Foundation barbecue. And then on Sunday, I attended Gigi's Playhouse Reach for the Stars Gala, organization that has just acquired a location and will be opening a facility for Down syndrome kids and adults. And it's an amazing organization. And this is the second year I attended this event, and it's a group of really caring individuals, and it's going to be a good asset for this community. And that's the end of my report. Do I have any future agenda items? Okay, seeing none. We will adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Chrislyn Raquel James. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Have a nice evening.
Just be aware, our meetings usually aren't this short.